Imagine being fed milk and honey every single day. Sounds pleasant, right? Now imagine that same milk and honey is covering your entire body. You're trapped inside two wooden boats, nailed together, unable to move. The sun is burning your skin, flies are swarming your face, and then the diarrhea starts. This is scaphism, also known as the boats. The ancient Persian torture method, so horrifying that even describing it makes people feel sick. And the worst part, you don't die quickly. One victim survived 17 days of pure agony. This is the story of the most disgusting execution method ever created by humans. Let's go back to the year 401 BC. The Persian Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in history, stretches from Egypt to India. At its heart sits King Artaxerxes II, who has just survived a brutal civil war against his own brother, Cyrus the Younger. During the final battle, a young Persian soldier named Mithridates struck Cyrus from behind with a well-aimed blow, killing him. The king was initially grateful. Mithridates had saved his throne. He even covered for the soldier, claiming someone else had delivered the fatal strike. But Mithridates made a fatal mistake. After drinking too much wine at a celebration, he started bragging. "I killed Cyrus! I'm the real hero!" The boast reached the king's ears. Artaxerxes was furious. Not only had Mithridates broken their secret agreement, but he'd also humiliated the king by claiming his glory. The punishment had to match the crime. It needed to be unforgettable. The king decreed, "Give him the boats." Those 4 words sealed Mithridates' fate in the most horrific way imaginable. Here's exactly what happened, according to the Greek historian Plutarch, who documented this torture in gruesome detail. Step 1. The trap. Executioners brought 2 small boats, or hollowed-out logs. They stripped Mithridates naked and placed him on his back in the first boat. Then they positioned the second boat on top, creating a coffin-like trap. But here's the twisted part. They cut holes so his head, hands, and feet stuck out. He couldn't move, couldn't escape, but he could feel everything. Step 2. The feeding. The torturers forced a mixture of milk and honey down his throat. They poured it until he was gagging, until his stomach couldn't hold anymore. If he refused to swallow, they pricked his eyes with needles until he complied. Then they smeared the same mixture all over his exposed face, hands, and feet. But why? Because the real torture was just beginning. Step 3. The sun. The boats were dragged to a stagnant pond or swamp and left floating there, exposed to the brutal Persian sun. Within hours, the milk and honey coating attracted exactly what you'd expect. Flies, hundreds of them, then thousands. Step 4. The side effects. The constant diet of milk and honey had a predictable result: severe, uncontrollable diarrhea. Mithridates had no choice but to defecate inside the boats. He was literally trapped in his own waste, with no way to clean himself, no way to move. And this is where it gets truly nightmarish. Step 5. The insects arrive. The combination of honey-covered skin and accumulated feces created a perfect breeding ground. First came the flies, laying eggs in every crevice. Within days, those eggs hatched into maggots, thousands of them, crawling across his skin, into his wounds, into every opening of his body. Byzantine chronicler Joannes Zonaras described it this way: "Flies, wasps, and bees, attracted by the sweetness, settle on his face and all such parts of him as project outside the boats, and miserably torment and sting the wretched man." But it wasn't just flies. Rats arrived. Attracted by the smell of decay, they gnawed on the exposed flesh. The maggots worked their way deeper, eating him from the inside out. Now here's the truly diabolical part of scaphism. The victim couldn't just die from dehydration or starvation. Every single morning, the executioners would return. They'd force-feed the victim more milk and honey, just enough to keep them alive, just enough hydration to prevent death, just enough nutrition to prolong the suffering. This wasn't an execution designed to kill quickly. It was designed to maximize agony for as long as humanly possible. The psychological torture was just as severe as the physical. The victim knew what was coming every single day: the morning feeding, the return of the insects, the burning sun, the itching, the pain, the humiliation of lying in their own filth. According to Plutarch's account, as the days passed, his belly, distended as it is with milk and honey, throws off liquid excrements, and these putrefying breed swarms of worms, intestinal and of all sorts. Thus the victim lying in the boats, his flesh rotting away in his own filth and devoured by worms, dies a lingering and horrible death. Delirium would set in. The mind would start to break. Some victims reportedly went mad before they finally died. Mithridates endured this horror for 17 days. 17 days. Imagine waking up every morning for more than 2 weeks, trapped in that wooden coffin, covered in insects, surrounded by the smell of your own rotting flesh. Every sunrise bringing another day of unimaginable suffering. When death finally came, likely from septic shock, organ failure, or infection, it must have felt like mercy. Plutarch writes that when the executioners finally opened the boats, they found his flesh completely devoured, with swarms of insects living inside his body cavity. This was the fate of anyone who committed the worst crimes in ancient Persia: murder, treason, insulting royalty. Scaphism was reserved for those who needed to be made an example of, a warning so terrifying that no one would dare commit the same offense. Now here's the big question. Did this actually happen? There's debate among historians. The only sources we have are Greek accounts, mainly from Plutarch, who got his information from Persias, a Greek physician known for, let's say, embellishing his stories. No physical evidence exists, no archaeological remains of the boats, no Persian texts confirming the practice, and after 2,500 years, any evidence would be long gone anyway. Some scholars think Scaphism was real but extremely rare, maybe used only once or twice on the worst traders. Others believe it was Greek propaganda, designed to make the Persians look barbaric. But whether it happened exactly as described or was exaggerated for shock value, one thing is certain: the mere idea of Scaphism was enough to terrify people for thousands of years. Scaphism stands as one of the most horrifying torture methods in human history, real or not. It represents the darkest extremes of human cruelty, a punishment so elaborate and prolonged that death became a merciful release. Today, we look back in horror at practices like this, grateful that modern justice systems have mostly evolved past such brutality. But Scaphism serves as a grim reminder. Throughout history, humans have been capable of unimaginable cruelty in the name of justice, revenge, or control. The next time someone offers you milk and honey, you might think twice, because in ancient Persia, those same sweet substances could transform into your worst nightmare, a 17-day journey into hell on earth.